We have the owner of BirthParentFinder.com joining us. He's talking about a phenomenal service and product here. Let's give a warm welcome to Jay of BirthParentFinder.com. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Everyone had a great day today? Fantastic. Let's come on in, guys. So let me ask you something. How many of you are adopted or are looking for a birth relative? Anyone? Gotta be someone. Okay, there's a couple people. Fantastic. So our company basically does three things. We find out who your birth parents are or your birth family is, number one. Number two, we get their contact information. And number three, on your behalf, we reach out to them. We do not want our clients reaching out to their birth family. That is the worst thing you could possibly do. Has anyone here ever done that without going through an intermediary? Sometimes I see that. Sometimes they don't work out very well. We've actually had people, we told them not to reach out to your birth family. They've actually showed up at the mother's door with flowers and said, "I'm your daughter." The mother flipped out and slammed the door. Now, we do not recommend that. We recommend use a company like ours. We are trained professionals in this. I have 38 years as a private investigator and knowing how to deal with people. That's a serious training thing that I've done. Also, I want to introduce Diane Homer, who's with the camera back there. Diane is also a licensed private investigator, and she's been with me for 6 years. And I'll say it real quick, I have 15 minutes to give an hour and a half presentation. 6 years ago, a news anchor in Los Angeles came to me, his production people came to me and said, "We want to hire you to help find Chris's birth family. He was adopted out of Florida. We have no information whatsoever." So I said, "This is going to be very tricky." Florida is a very tricky state. So what we did was use all our resources, use the non-identifying information. We actually DNA was helping out on the case. They actually were filmed on TV for this, and it's on their website, this story. And we couldn't find a close relative. So what we decided to do is go through the state of Florida. They have a program where you fill out a form. It's a matching form, and then they reach out to the birth family. If the birth family wants to reach back, they match the two of you, and then they put the two of you together. Well, because if you were adopted 1950 to 1960 or before that, there's nothing out there. So you have every right to get your birth medical information. Because when your kids go to the doctor, they ask you, "Tell us about your family medical history." You have nothing. That's not good. So to me personally, I don't know about the rest of you, medical history is the most important thing. To me, it's more important than meeting your birth parents. Life updates. You want to let your birth family you're doing well. If you're not doing well, I will not take your case. I might take it, but I won't introduce you to them. It's really important, like I said, that you're in a good place in life. We've had cases where remember the show The Doctors on CBS? We worked on a case with them. We were going to go on TV with them, and I found the child who was not in a good place. She was a prostitute in New Orleans, and I said, "You cannot do this reunion. She's a drug addict, she's a prostitute, you cannot film this on TV." And they decided to scrap it. You can't do that. You can't have the mother meet the daughter. The mother's in a great place, the daughter's not. Maybe years down the road you could do that, but it's just not a good idea. But at least she knew her daughter was alive, but she was not in the right frame of mind to meet her mother. And is that my decision to make? I actually think it is. Some of you might disagree, but I've located thousands of people. I've reunited, I don't know, maybe 500-600 over the course of a career, and we know what we're doing. And it's very, very important that you let the third party, the professional, act as the intermediary. Gratitude. You want to thank your birth parents for giving you life, but what's the most important thing? They gave you life. They didn't decide not to have you and do something drastic. They gave you life. To me, they're heroes. No ands, ifs, or buts. They're heroes, period. The mother, that is. A reunion. Perfect world. You meet your birth mother or your birth father, you have a nice reunion, and you live happily ever after. That doesn't always happen, but honestly, 6 out of 10 times that does. Sometimes they talk on the phone, sometimes they never meet, sometimes they pass away and you meet a sibling. To me, that's priceless. It's priceless, and it gives my client peace of mind. Peace of mind, very important. Closure. Many clients, people that we've met here this week, don't have closure. they go through their whole life with not knowing anything about their birth family. They want to have closure. And that's what we do. We want to give you closure. We want to give you peace of mind. It's important to me, more than anything. More than taking their money, honestly. And obviously we have to charge for our services, which we sometimes spend 50 and 60 hours on these cases. And it's just very rewarding for us, and it's good for our clients. Okay, this story. This young lady came to us last year at RootsTech. She came to our booth and she was almost crying. She said, "Can you help me find my son?" I said, "Well, that depends. Where was he born?" She said, "Well, he was born in Minnesota in 1990. I said, "Well, do you have his name?" She said, "Well, I gave him the name and I know his date of birth." Obviously, she knows the date of birth. I said, "I tell you what, I'm going to do this. I'm not going to charge you a dime if you let me go public with the story." She said, "Okay." So it took me 5 minutes to find him based on my resources, and that's the easy part. The hard part is getting his contact information, reaching out, and getting him to cooperate. Now, how do you do that? So I got his phone number. It took me about 2 weeks to actually get through to the guy, because you don't want to leave messages and say, "Hi, your birth mother wants to know how you're doing." You just never do that. You never ever do that, and especially if somebody's married and the person, somebody had an affair and the child was born and nobody knows about that person. You want to be very, very careful in how you reach out. It's very sensitive, and that's what we do. We want to make sure that nothing goes wrong. No one's life is ruined. You don't want to ruin anyone's life. So after 2 weeks, he got back to me after figuring out that I was a real person. And then I texted him a picture of his mother. And he was, "Oh my God, this is unbelievable. I thought she never wanted to reach out to me." He said, "Well, she wanted to wait. She was cautious. She doesn't want to interrupt your life." We always say that. She doesn't want to interrupt your life. Those are the key words. Don't want to interrupt your life. However, if you do want to meet, she'd be more than happy to meet you. And it turns out they did meet 2 weeks later. She lives in Minnesota, he lives in Wisconsin. They live 4 hours apart, and it turns out her daughter lives an hour away. So the daughter actually was at the reunion, and they let me share this picture. And the best thing about this whole thing, who's the face of RootsTech this year? This amazing, brave woman. It's just amazing. And they're both in a better place right now. Mind you, they were in a good place before, but now it's even better. So basically, this next part, I have to go really quick because I'm gonna run out of time. Okay, and this is interesting. You think they look alike? What do you think? They're definitely. DNA solved this case. Soldier in Vietnam, 1969. Daughter, Vietnamese. Mother was a villager. We had no information, zero. And I get a lot of these cases. No information. We solved this case in about 2 weeks, maybe. Solving it wasn't the hard part. The hard part was getting the family to cooperate. He's deceased. That's the hard part. He's deceased. And we got to convince the family that they're related. Obviously, that picture helps. We'll send that picture to the family. They go, "She looks just like my dad." So, by the way, they let me put this up here. I always ask before we can use their names and information. So, this brother gave me a hard time. It's the half-brother, the birth father's youngest son. Gave me a real hard time. Called me a fraud, a fake. You're not real. You're trying to get my money. What's going on? And I sent him that picture with all the information I had. And this was his response. "Love it. Jay, thank you very much for the photo." It's like, wow. I apologize if I was confrontational. It's just my personality. She's a very pretty girl. She took after my dad. So he's just basically saying that this is all real. And when I sent this to her, she just goes, "Oh my God, I can't believe this. You gave me the peace of mind that I needed." And that's all I want out of my clients, is them having peace of mind. There's a reunion photo. They met last week. But obviously I prepared this before last week. He flew all the way from Michigan to Florida to meet her. And he didn't even have to take a DNA test because he came up as a close relative with 1,500 centimorgans. Does anyone know what that? Still know what that? Yeah, he's definitely a half sibling. And that father could have been the only guy because he had a younger brother who was in the military years later. He was the only one in the family in Vietnam. I can safely conclude that he was the birth father. So that case is completed, but there's a backstory to this that the client wants to tell me. And she gave me and a production company the rights to make a movie out of it. So we're going to send a team to Florida to interview her and get the story so we can put it all together and possibly sell it for a movie. It's chilling what she had to go through to be half American during 1969 and Vietnamese. The Viet Cong would have killed her. So she was hidden deep into Vietnam during that time until after the war. And then years later, it's like the movie Lion. Her and her mother came to the U.S. looking for the father before DNA. Once DNA arrived, it really helped out. Oh, this is a good one. Like I said, they gave me permission to use this. Thank you very much. You probably can't read it. I'll summarize it. For some reason, people don't answer their phones, right? Everything goes to voicemail, everything's spam, right? So I text people. That always works. But how do you want to text them? So you text them and say, "Hi, my name is Jay. I have a client who found you through Ancestry, and we think you're a close relative." You never say, "You are a birth parent." You freak them out. So you're a close relative, I need your help. This woman was amazing. This is the birth mother. She said, I had a daughter born in Shreveport in 72. She basically blurted that out in a text message. She said she didn't name her, but she actually did. And she didn't know the exact weight, but that was a long time ago. She was very young at the time. Their memory fades after a while because they put it out of their mind. So, gave her the information. She said, "I will help any way that I can." It's like, this is gold. This doesn't always happen. For me, it happens a lot because I know how to do this. I'm professional at this. And again, don't do this yourself. I sent her a picture of the family. This is Sarah and her family. Nice Christmas picture, holiday picture, beautiful family. Look what she wrote. She is gorgeous. Thank you so much. She's gorgeous. And I always say, she's beautiful just like her mother. I have to be nice to them. I can't be mean. If I'm mean, this goes south. It goes the worst way. It's all on me. I'm always polite to everyone, even if they say, "You're a fraud, you're a fake. Who are you?" Look me up. We're on social media. They have a great reputation. And it's just pretty amazing. She said, "Can I call her?" And she said, "Yes." And I actually did with this one. I said, "Can I call my client and have a three-way conversation?" Because my client was a little apprehensive about talking to her. I guided her through that conversation. They had an amazing conversation. It was just unbelievable. So, in closing, how many people are going to reach out to their relatives on behalf of themselves now? No? You're not going to do that, right? But again, it's important. Once you locate your birth parents or any family member, you want to hire a third-party professional like our company. There's other companies out there that do it, but really vet the company. Really vet the company. Do your due diligence. Look at Google reviews. Look what other people say about them. There's a lot of companies out there. They're search engines. I do love search engines, but I don't recommend search engines to act as intermediaries. I don't. There's a ton of them out there. Like I said, they do great work, but hire a professional company. We're not psychologists, but we are really, really good at what we do. And Diane back there, she's I know Diane used to be a producer on Find My Family. I remember that show? And she's worked with tons of adoptees, tons of people looking for their parents. She's probably reached out to hundreds. She's worked DNA cases. Has everyone been to our booth? Great. So, like I said, we have so many more slides that we couldn't present tonight. So what I'd like to do, we will be at our booth till 7 o'clock. If anyone has any questions, please ask us. We'll be here through Saturday. And again, birthparentfinder.com. Thank you so much for being here today.
Well, this exciting achievement is maybe only seconded by the drawing for a $100 gift card to Southwest. So why don't we let you do the honors of the draw?
Are you ready? Last four, 0165. You're right in the center there.
Congratulations, that is awesome. Way to go. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, in just a few minutes, our final presenter of the evening is Grandpa back, his family.